Oh, Senator Sampson.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Again, and this is another title that doesn't really tell the reader what's going on. I was hoping that you might share a little bit more information. An act concerning the purchase of a mobile manufactured home park by its residents. As far as I know, that's a perfectly lawful activity in Connecticut. I'm just curious what the bill purports to do.
So under current law, residents have the ability to purchase a park that has been closed. They have a right of first refusal to purchase a park that has been closed. This proposal endeavors to expand that right to include a park that is being sold. And it gives the residents at that park sort of a right of first refusal, first bite at the apple, to purchase the land that their mobile homes are on.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I would assume that a unit owner in a mobile home park and the park owner have a contractual arrangement already. And that is certainly something that is typically part of a private contract. I know, for example, a lot of condominium owner associations require a first right of refusal when a unit owner sells their property. And that's so that they can reclaim it as the collection of unit owners for whatever purpose, mostly to protect their asset, because that's an asset that belongs to them collectively as well. So I guess my concern with this is that if you're, number one, suggesting that we would put something that belongs in a private contract into statute. Is that correct, Mr. Chairman?
Well, Senator Sampson, it's just a concept that hasn't been drafted yet, so I'm certainly not suggesting that. But what I am suggesting is that the Housing Committee raise this as a concept so it can be drafted, so that members of the public can share their expert opinions from all sides of the issue as it relates to this topic. And other states have, in fact, gone in this direction from a policy standpoint. And there are many, many, many residents in Connecticut that have asked the Housing Committee to take a look at this particular policy area, and that's what I think we have an obligation to do in a bipartisan fashion.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So if this, are there any other details that you can offer me if this proposal is to require that Connecticut law creates a first right of refusal for mobile home park unit owners in the case where a landowner wants to sell the park? They have the opportunity before anyone else to make the purchase. I would assume that they have the right to make the purchase anyway. Why would we want to give them the first right of refusal versus any other potential buyer? And isn't that an impediment on the landowner for them to be able to use property that they acquired lawfully to be able to sell it to any interested buyer? Mr. Chairman?
This proposal, I think there are some unique complexities around both from an organizational standpoint and a financing standpoint that serve as barriers under our current current state law and current legal system that make it hard for mobile manufactured homeowners to quickly band together and put together financing to purchase a park when it is for sale. And so there is a significant public policy interest in giving folks a right of first refusal to consider, or at least for this committee to consider that at a public hearing, to give folks the opportunity to do that, and other states have done it.
I appreciate that answer, Mr. Chairman. I don't know what you mean when you say public policy interest. Does that mean that there's a state interest, and that's why we would be creating a statute that requires one side of a voluntary agreement to have something that the state inserts on their behalf, effectively unleveling the playing field in the contractual arrangement? I guess this is what my concern is. I mean, you haven't said specifically what the bill will be, and I completely understand that we may not have the details of timeframes and so forth, but I'm gathering that what this bill is going to do is it's going to require that any time a mobile home park is sold, that the unit owners can have the first right of refusal. And because, as you mentioned, they may not be able to put their finances together in short order, there will be a further impediment on the property owner that says that they have to allow them a certain amount of time or ability to finance or something like that. I just don't understand why there would be any state interest in a private real estate transaction like that. That is between the unit owners and the landowner and nobody else. And I have grave concerns that this committee continues to venture down the road of creating opposing forces between landowners and tenants, and in this case, unit owners and the land lease operator. And this will only have a negative impact on the availability of housing. If you begin to make policy like this, imposing further restrictions on people who would invest in creating housing opportunities, there will be less housing opportunities. And I can't say enough. You know, this committee began with an announcement that Connecticut has a problem with not having enough available, affordable housing opportunities for its residents. And that's a debatable subject itself. But if that's the motivation behind the committee's actions this year, then why is it almost every bill is another impediment to that goal? And that's exactly what's going to happen here. If you're going to put even more restrictions on these park owners, you're going to see less park owners. And that will only drive rents even higher for those land leases. It's simple economics. And I think it's dangerous. I think that you're, in fact, creating a disturbance in the public by promoting these types of policies. I've spoken to property owners across the state in recent weeks who are terrified. They can't believe that they've invested their entire lives in acquiring property and capital, to run a business and have a profitable life in America, a free country. And yet the state government is threatening to impose restrictions and requirements and telling them how much money they can earn and a bunch of other things. And now here's another bill that basically says, if you own this type of property already, this is not even affecting someone that's new to the industry or anything like that. This is someone who already owns property, and effectively you're going to put a lien against it. It's almost the same exact thing when the state comes along and adds a requirement, an impediment to a future sale. This is dangerous policy. And I used the term in a previous meeting, say it's un-American, and I will stand by that. This country is based on the notion of free enterprise, the marketplace determining the value of goods and services, and people's individual property being protected. And our job here in the state legislature as representatives of our constituents is to protect their rights, Mr. Chairman. It is not to determine which person in a private transaction we side with. And it's been inferred numerous times in the debates that we've had that somehow anyone that wants to prevent the state from picking a side is somehow picking one side. I pick no sides, Mr. Chairman. I want everyone to have the same free opportunity to engage in commerce and market-based transactions. And that's not what we're doing here. So, this item, I'd ask for a roll call also. This is dangerous policy, and I don't think it should move forward. Thank you.